and welcome back to Lakeside Chats with Lexia. I'm your host, Lexia Janopoulos, and today I am joined by the amazing Tyszka. Alice is the #1 ranked best-selling author of poetry collections, a couple that we will get to learn about today. Her work has been featured in various literary magazines, book blogs, and anthologies. Alice is also the founder of Alice's Authoring Agency, LLC, and she works with aspiring authors as publishing consultants and writing coaches, putting her faith, kindness, and positivity first. Alice makes it her mission to uplift everyone around her and fill empty pages with messages of goodness and light. What an amazing message. Thank you so much for coming on today, Alice.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here, and I just love your talk show and getting to see how, you're celebrating your inner child through this big moment that you've been waiting for.
Oh, absolutely.
So happy to support, so happy to be here.
And something that we didn't get to mention yet is that Alice is one of Furman's very own. Alice is a senior this year, so we are so lucky to have her at Furman as well.
Thank you.
But Alice, you mentioned being a child, so let's start from the beginning.
Yes.
So now that you're a senior, can you go through a little bit of how you got here? You wrote 3 books. That is so impressive for anyone of any age. But the fact that you're a senior now, that's really young. So how did you get here? How did you start writing and everything?
Yes, that's a great question. I think, it all goes back to about the 4th or 5th grade when I started getting exposed to poetry more. I started writing a lot more, and it was later on in middle school that I found that this journey that I was on with writing, it was no longer just a hobby, it became a passion. And then after 8th grade in high school, I was taking even more poetry and creative writing courses, and I realized, okay, this is not even just a passion, but something I want to continue to pursue for the rest of my life. This is my calling, this is my vocation, this is my love. And it was actually in sophomore year, I believe, of high school when I published my first poetry collection, actually in the middle of the pandemic, which is Finding My Light. That's my first poetry collection. And then fast forward a few years later, I published Embracing the Storm, and most recently in 2023, Loving This Life.
Being a high school student during a pandemic and writing, that is crazy. So congratulations on all of that.
Thank you.
Now, you said that it was during the pandemic, so what would you say kind of sparked the idea for you to not only begin writing these poems, but then say, you know what, it's a global pandemic, everything's shut down, but I'm going to write a book. I'm going to make this into an actual publishable book. How did that process kind of come to be?
Well, it all started right when everything in the world was shutting down. It was just before my birthday, actually, and we all kind of just thought, everyone in my friend group just thought, maybe 2 weeks off of school, this will be great. And then fast forward 2 weeks later, in the middle of March, we realized we're not going back to school, and all of our work, all of our assignments, everything's going to be online. And I have achiever in my top 5 strengths. So once I heard that everything was online and the curriculum was really what I could make of it, and I could complete things on my own time, I ended up finishing all of my assignments in school about a month early. And I was like, oh, this is great. I'm able to, do my notes, do my exams. And I realized I loved online learning, and also that I was very efficient with it. And so I thought to myself after I finished school about a month early, what do I do with the rest of this time? And then I thought, well, now is the time to actually come back to my poetry, to come back to myself, to tap into my work again and see what can happen. I mean, I truly felt it was a sign from the universe saying, come back to your writing. What else are you going to be able to do with this time? When else are you going to be able to just focus on writing a book for a whole month? And rereading a lot of my poems that I wrote in middle school that started it all, which are a lot of what's included in Finding My Light.
That is so cool. I feel I always reference, looking back, what would you share with your younger self, and how would your younger self look at you today? And so that is just so amazing that you got to publish things from your middle school self, and now being the person you are in college, and getting to see that and kind of have that trajectory tracked. Do you think that your writing that you can see through your books is kind of adapted at all and changed?
Absolutely.
Do you see that progression through the books?
Definitely so. I think it's really a beautiful process, and it's so fun to reread my books. I do reread them quite a bit, just to see how my writerly voice has matured.
Absolutely.
And how our voices never really stay the same. I mean, we're able to keep that childlike joy or whatever we want from those years that came, before us, and just from our youth. and we're able to kind of restructure and reframe them in beautiful ways as we learn more, as we take on more, and become just even more beautiful versions of ourselves. So we're constantly growing, and so are our writerly voices, and I see that especially in Finding My Light, because it's a mixture of poems that were from my middle school days and then from high school, and then we see the maturity that kind of taps into embracing the storm, and then my voice, which, I mean, Loving This Life truly captures my voice most currently as to who I feel I am as a writer right now. And so it's beautiful to see all of the voices of my past self coming together in these 3 collections in really just fun and exciting ways.
That's so sweet. I feel like you even speak poetically. Like I can kind of like hear
thank you.
I can hear the writer's voice coming out. So what would you say kind of inspires you when you sit down to like write a poem? What's that process like? Do you have the intention where like you're like, oh, I'm gonna like have this time for writing, or is it more something that like something comes into your mind and you're like, I have to write this down? Like take us through that process.
I would say it's a bit of both. There are instances where I'm sitting outside having a matcha or having a pink drink or something, and I'm thinking to myself, today is going to be a day where I just write, where I soak up the sun and I see how I can feel inspired. And truly, I am most inspired from our human experiences. What does it mean to love fully and live abundantly, feel connected to one another? And, you know, as the bio that you read says, I really just want to fill pages with messages of love and light and inspiration and connectedness. So any chance that I can do that, it really just inspires me in my relationships, in the way that I walk through this world. I'm constantly thinking, what can I write about? What is going to be the next story that makes me who I am, and that, you know, just takes me in a completely different direction that I didn't see coming. And then, of course, we have those unexpected moments of joy and of inspiration where I was never expecting a certain moment, and then it comes, and I think this will probably be in my next book. So it is a bit of both. So, some of it's planning, and then some of it is just having a beautiful message come to me from the universe at a completely random time.
Yeah.
So, but all of it is beautiful, whether it's a plan, whether it's not exactly a plan. I love it all.
So you talked a lot about like how you feel when you're writing the poems. So to flip it a little bit, how do you hope that your books are received by people? What would you say your target audience is when you write that?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say my target audience, I would like to say that I'm a writer for everyone, especially women who are looking to feel empowered and feel a sense of connection in perhaps a space or a way that they hadn't before. And really just for everyone to know that they are not alone in their successes, in their victories, in their struggles, in their battles, all of it. We are all in this together. And I really want to remind my readers of that and also fill them with a different kind of comfort or hope or joy. I hope that my readers feel uplifted, and many of them have said that before. They feel like they're able to gain a new perspective about certain life events that have also struck them, or that they're just able to feel a sense of joy and comfort and think, I'm not alone in this. Someone else who's in their 20s or even before when I was writing has been writing about this and had these opinions and feelings and questions that may never be answered. And there's comfort in knowing that we're not alone in those thoughts and in those reflections.
Absolutely. I feel like at any age that's good, but especially I think in the younger like people, because I feel like that's not something we talk about, like, you know, mental health things a lot, mental health for youth, but like the fact that we're not really talking about that. So the fact that like your books are sparking that is really incredible. So thank you. Thank you. I would say, how would you define community? I feel like we've talked a little bit, touched a little bit on the outskirts of it, but how would you say community is sparked? And then to give you a preview of what my follow-up question will be, how do your books do that for someone?
Ooh, I love community, and I think it is a very hot topic right now. What does it mean to have community? What does it mean to celebrate that? What does it mean to bring everyone to the table, which is the bare minimum, and then allow everyone to actually have a voice at the table and find their voice and establish their voice? And I think community to me is that. It is allowing everyone to find their voice, feel included, feel heard. I think that, you know, on our own, we are not as powerful as we are all together. I think it's beautiful when we can get together, learn from different walks of life, experiences, voices, and that's what's so beautiful to me about writing, right? I'm just one voice, and I also get to hear from all of these other voices who inspire me each and every day. And so I hope that, going back to your next question about community and how my books hope to do that, I think my books just are a celebration of community, especially Loving This Life. That is truly a love letter to all of the people who have made me feel some kind of community, and to all of the people who have made me celebrate life even more. So to you, of course, and to all of my Furman family, my regular family, everyone. I think it's just a celebration of life and people, and unpacking the fact that we're all on this journey together.
Yeah.
And there's something magical about that. There's something magical about recognizing that you're a part of something much larger than yourself, and that all of these other people you're around are part of your story. So my story, yes, it's my story, but it also shares the light and the joy and the hope and the lessons that I've learned from those around me. And that's what I think community is all about.
That's so beautiful. I feel like it is so important in like a time that I just feel like we're divided on so many things. And I feel like even just being on campus, like trying to find those common links between each other, but like seeing that like joy and love is really what brings us all together. It's just
Exactly.
so everybody needs to go and read this book and buy this book. What would you say? I know this is going to be a hard question. I feel like it's like picking your children, but like, what is your favorite book?
Ooh, I had a feeling you were going to ask that after you said picking between your children. Oh, goodness. Oh, they're all my book babies. Of course, you know me so well. They are all my children, truly. I guess if I had to pick one, though, I probably would say Loving This Life, my most recent collection, simply because, going back to what I said before, I think it does capture my writerly voice most closely, I think, to who I am now, to what I believe in now, and to the stage of life that I'm currently in. So for that reason, I just feel a very special connection to it. I think it's also the one that has touched the most hearts recently, and the audience reaction, the reader's reaction to that book was just the one that left me speechless and honestly in tears of joy. When people were picking up this book and thinking like, I feel like I can celebrate life alongside you. I see that there are so many beautiful things that I resonate with in here. Oh, nothing beats that. Nothing beats that.
So we've talked a lot about like the joy and how amazing this has been, but I know that there has to have been challenges. So what would you say was like one of your most notable challenges that you've kind of overcome through the process of all of this?
Ooh, I think with each of my books, honestly, things have gone unplanned, whether that's I thought a cover design was good and then, I get an email back from my publisher saying we have to reformat this, we have to edit it, it's not the right resolution or whatever. So every single book has had some kind of thing, whether it's cover design, formatting, something else. There's always something unexpected. Yeah. And I've just come to expect that. With Loving This Life, I was like, what's going to happen now? What little thing is going to pop up, But honestly, I think these challenges are beautiful. I wouldn't even consider them challenges now, more so just learning opportunities. And that's what I've loved. So I self-published all three of these collections. And I think through that, I was able to gain such a deeper, wider understanding of the publishing industry, of becoming an editor, becoming a book cover designer, becoming a book formatter, and taking on all of these roles. And so yes, there have been challenges with, designs and whatever pops up, but I just take them with grace. I give myself grace, and I think I want this book to be the best experience. And that is really what all of these books have been for me. And I feel like that's such a blessing to just love what you do that much that even the challenges, we can just shrug those off and keep moving, keep growing, and learn from them and be amazed by the whole process, the entire journey. Nothing beats that either. It's awesome. So, it challenges me, but I want to be the best that I can be, whether that's in my personal writing and helping other people write in my company. I want to make sure that I'm doing the best I can and embracing those challenges and just thinking, what can I learn from next? What's going to be my next great adventure?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I know you personally, so like I kind of have an insight into this, but like you're a positive person. And I think that everyone watching today can agree with like you're just so radiantly positive. But like for somebody who is facing a challenge, how would you suggest that they can kind of flip their lens and begin seeing things as learning opportunities? How did you ever go through that? That like, I think at least when I think about like writing a book, I'm like, okay, editing, like, I feel like I could take, like, personal offense, like, oh, you don't like how I wrote this, you know what I mean? And I feel like something that's so personal to you, like these books, like poetry, how did you kind of go through that and reconcile that, especially with the first book?
I think for me personally, I've just developed a mantra of I don't believe in failing, I just believe in learning. I think that no one should think that they have failed in trying and in attempting to create something great or creating something great. Embrace the whole process, which is definitely easier said than done, but enter the process with an open mind, continue to allow yourself to adapt and recognize that something may not be part of the plan that pops up. Grab it, take hold of it, just do what you can with it anyway. When it comes to editing as well, which I think can be a challenge, you've just got to be able to take risks, accept revision as part of the process. One of my amazing English professors, Dr. Tevis, actually says, revision is the party.
Oh, I love it.
And I love it. Like, it's not actually the publication of the book, although that is a party in and of itself. It's the revision. It's the journey of getting there rather than just the destination. And those are words I really take into heart. Revision is the party.
Revision is the party. I feel like we need it like on a sign.
Yes, revision is the party. Yes.
I feel like that's like applicable to so many different things.
Yes.
And like just, again, taking that learning process rather than seeing it as, okay, I didn't do this right. It really is like celebrating in, the redirection. I like to say like rejection is redirection.
Yes.
That's kind of my like mantra. So,
and
like,
we're never done growing.
Yes.
We're never done growing.
Yes.
It's a lifelong journey. I'm a lifelong learner. I've always said if I could be in school forever, I would be. Because I love things like that. I love learning about people. I love learning about different processes of creating things like books. It's all beautiful to me. So believe in learning. Don't believe that you failed, and keep going. And revision is the party.
Yes. What more can we say than revision is the party?
Yes.
Well, Alice, with that, are there any next big ideas for your company? Because you have a publishing company.
Yes.
Can you share anything with us today?
Absolutely. So I am very excited to share that my publishing company is looking to go full time.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Which is I'm so excited for that. But we are currently accepting clients who are writing poetry, who are writing children's books. I work with a wide variety of authors, and most recently I actually just helped a branch of Mill Village create a poetry anthology called Finding Common Ground. And I think its themes are so applicable. I helped them with formatting and making sure that everything in the anthology looked the way that it should. And so I take great pride in the projects that I work on and the people that I work with. And for me, I love learning about just stories. So to be able to work with people, those are my next big ideas. To be able to work with people, to be able to learn their stories, and to be helpful in helping them create them and share them with the world.
Making this your passion, your full-time calling. And for those who don't know, Mill Village Ministries that Alice was referencing is a local Greenville nonprofit. So amazing work that you're doing there.
Thank you.
But congratulations, Alice. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And I'll let Alice take it over and maybe read a segment of these in just a moment. But,
I would love to.
For everybody who has joined us today, thank you so much for watching Lakeside Chats with Lexia, and thank you to Alice for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me again.
We'll see you guys next week.
Hello everyone. Today I am reading a poem called Searching for Love in Everything, and this comes from my third poetry collection, Loving This Life. Searching for love in everything. We are so much like these rocks, I think to myself one morning, while passing a sea of black, gray, and white. Pebbles, all different shapes, sizes, colors. They drift past one another on land or in oceans, all while we collide. We crash gracefully or without the intention of even finding one another. Is it messy or beautiful, our choice or fate? We all have a home, we all have a story. And perhaps we are found in the waves that rush, where over time we lose our sharp edges and the water, all-knowing, smooths us out, reminding us to be gentle with ourselves. Perhaps the boulders basking in the light on land carry similar knowledge, and like us, maybe they love watching the clouds in the day, and even more, the stars at night. Maybe all of life ponders the change the earth makes as we constantly gain and lose sight, as we try to follow a path to love this life. There must be love to go around in all places, in all things. Isn't all of it a greater message for the love present in this world? They were here before us and will remain long after. Perhaps one day, long after, love will exist for and within everything. And my message to you is that you find love wherever you are today. Thank you.